All right, and welcome to your core conditioning. We have one nice big circuit that we're gonna run through twice, 30 seconds on, 10 seconds off. We're gonna do a short warm up first, starting with 10 jumping jacks. So whether you wanna do 10 high or 10 low jumping jacks, totally up to you. But once you have done your 10 jumping jacks, we're gonna do 5 plank walkouts. So we're gonna stand at the back of your mat. Make your legs a little bit wider if you're tighter in those hamstrings. Bring your hands down towards the floor. We're gonna walk your hands out into a nice plank position. Make sure you don't let those hips drop. Come on back, just touch those toes, and then walk it right back out again. We're gonna do 5 total. Just getting our whole body warmed up here a little bit more. And once you have done 5 of your plank walkouts, I want you to stand all the way up for me. And we are going to finish with 10 total body extensions, which is basically doing a squat jump without the jump. So we're gonna sit those hips back like you're gonna do a squat. Bring those arms behind you. Reach up onto the toes, extending those arms up to the ceiling. We're gonna do 10 total here. And then once you have done 10 total body extensions, I want you to come down on the floor, on your back. We're gonna get those hands behind the head to support the neck. And what's gonna happen is we are going to do just a good old crunch to kind of get us a little bit more warmed up. We're simply lifting the shoulders off the floor. That is it. So what's gonna happen? Feet flat, knees bent, hands behind the head. We're gonna drive that back down into the floor, simply lifting the shoulders and coming right back down. That is it. And then I'm gonna talk you guys all through the rest. All right, here we go. Lift those shoulders. So eyes are going to kind of come up on about a 45-degree angle. I tend to look where my wall and ceiling meet. And even when I bring my shoulders back down to the floor, I'm not letting that back arch up off the mat. I'm still keeping it pressed down. But as I lift the shoulders, I'm just pushing the mat down or my back down even further into the mat. All right, I only need a couple more seconds. I want you to bring those feet up for me. Now you can reach with the hands if you need to support the neck. Just keep the hands behind the head, lifting those shoulders up and off the floor. So you got some options here. Hands behind the head, or you can reach those fingers towards the toes, driving that back down into the mat. I need about 15 more seconds. And then we're gonna tuck those hands underneath the hips. We'll do a reverse crunch into a leg lift or a hip lift. So we're gonna push the heels up towards the ceiling after we do a reverse crunch. So relax the head, reverse crunch, and then straight leg up. Reverse crunch, and then straight leg up. So we're gonna keep the knees bent to bring the knees to the chest, and then we're gonna straighten the legs out and bring the heels to the ceiling. Good, so we're alternating between the two. Good, again, tucking that tailbone under. Using those nice lower abdominals to pull the knees to the chest and to get those heels up towards the ceiling. All right, I need about 4 more seconds. We're gonna cross an ankle over a knee into a figure 4 position. We're gonna bring hands behind the head and we're gonna bring elbow across to the opposite knee. So we're gonna stay all on the one side. So reaching over, come on back. So we're gonna use those obliques to reach the elbow over and across to that opposite knee. Good. So obviously once we've done this side, we gotta do the same thing on the other side. And your goal is just to get that shoulder up and off the floor as much as you can. I need about 4 more seconds. We'll get set up on the other side. Good. Switch it out. Same thing, other side, nothing else changes. So again, lifting the shoulders, push up back down into the mat, and then bring that elbow across the body to the opposite knee. Good. You got it. Now, once we've done 30 seconds here, we're gonna go into a double crunch. So we're gonna keep the hands behind the head. We're gonna bring both feet up and off the floor, knees at about 90 degrees. And we're basically going to bring our knees and elbows together like we're coming into a ball. And then we'll release ourselves out of that ball. So we're gonna come into our ball and then bring our head down and knees and hips back to that 90-degree angle, and then pull everything back in again. All right, here we go. Drive your back down into the floor. You're gonna tuck that pelvis under, pulling the knees in, meeting the elbows in the middle. Good. Not a very big movement, but once we have done 30 seconds of our double crunch, we're gonna bring our hands up above the chest. You can either extend the legs out in front nice and straight, which would be easier, or keep the knees bent. And we're gonna do a nice full sit-up. So hands are here regardless. Straight legs will be easier. Bent legs a little bit harder. Let's drive that back down into the floor. Lift those shoulders up as high as you can. Reach for the ceiling. Lower back down under control. Good. And as you come down, you're kind of coming down vertebrae by vertebrae. Rounding that back out just a little bit. You got it. Now, make sure those arms do not come behind the head. Make sure you're not swinging yourself up with the arms. I only need 5 more seconds, and then we need to pick a side, left or right, for some side plank hip dips. So we're gonna come down onto the forearm, bottom leg bent, top leg straight is easier, or extend both legs for more of a challenge. Pop it up. All right, let's drop the hip to the floor and then push that hip back up towards the ceiling. Good. Eyes are gonna be straight ahead. Make sure you take that top hand, rest it on your hip, bring that hand up to the ceiling, whatever feels best for you. Try not to keep it down on the floor. We wanna keep that chest nice and open. I need 10 more seconds, and then we get to drop and roll to the other side. In 4, 3, 2, awesome, good. All right, same thing, other side, and then we're gonna move on. Modified or a full side plank, you choose. Let's pop it up, hand on the hip, drop the hip, push that hip up as high as you can. Good, so we're working that whole underside oblique and hip area. Now, if pushing your hip up past parallel is just like a lot, then you don't have to do it. Just drop the hip, come up as high as you can. Drop the hip, come up as high as you can. And as you get stronger, the range of motion will get bigger. I need about 5 more seconds. We're gonna flip over onto our forearms, either from the knees or toes. And we are going to hold good old-fashioned plank. Now you can do this with your hands elevated off the floor to make this a little bit easier as well. So we're on our forearms, knees or toes. Drop those hips down, tuck that belly button in. Good, keeping your eyes on the floor. Back is nice and flat. So make sure you don't let those hips start to drop to the floor. Make sure those hips are not coming up towards the ceiling. Tuck that belly button in, feel your butt squeeze. I need about 10 more seconds. We're gonna pop it up onto our hands, and we're gonna do some mountain climbers. And again, you can keep your hands elevated to make that mountain climber a little bit easier. All right, hands, toes, 2 options. You can run the legs, you can step the legs. All right, here we go. Here's your low impact version, stepping those knees into the chest. Here is your high. You can do one or the other, you can do a bit of both. And like I said, if you have your hands off the floor onto a staircase, a solid coffee table, or a workout bench, it will make it easier. I need 10 more seconds. We're gonna come back down on our back, legs straight out, arms above the head. We got some oblique jackknives. Perfect, flip. So legs out, hands above. Option 1, just lift the shoulders off the floor. Option 2, sit it all the way up. So you got 2 choices. You can make this move as big or as small as you need to, but again, drive that back down into your mat. Feel your abs contract. That is what's lifting the shoulders. That is what's gonna pull that leg up. Do not swing yourself up with those arms. We got less than 10 seconds. We're gonna go back into our figure 4 position. Woo. So, figure 4. I'm gonna keep my hands tucked under, other leg comes up. So we do a leg lower with a hip lift. Leg lower, hip lift. Good. Again, keeping that back push down into the floor, using those abs to pull the leg back up, and then tuck that belly button under or pelvis under to get your heel up towards the ceiling. Good. Perfect. We got less than 10 seconds. We got to do the exact same thing on the other side. We have one move left in our circuit, and then we're back to the top. All right, switch it out. Last time here, and then we're gonna move on to our last move. So straighten out the leg for me, pull it up, and lift. Good, lower just as far as was comfortable. You do not need to get the leg right down to the floor. Really focus on using those abdominals to pull the leg back up. And like I said, we're tucking that pelvis under to get that heel to the ceiling. Now our last move in the circuit, we're gonna go and do some bicycles, but we're gonna keep the legs nice and straight. All right, so hands come back behind the head. I need one leg up, one leg out. Elbow to opposite knee, keep the nice straight leg in order to switch. Here we go. Keeping that back push down into the floor. Now the smaller you keep the legs, the easier it will be. The bigger you make the legs, the harder it will be. If you find keeping the legs straight just too much of a challenge, then I want you to bend the knees and just do a regular bicycle with a bent knee with either really big legs or nice and small. All right, we got 4, 3, 2, and relax. We are back to the top, feet flat. Knees are nice and bent. Hands behind the head. We just lift these shoulders. Here we go. Lift them up. Come on, back down. Now that you're a bit more warmed up, see if you can get those shoulders off the floor just a wee bit more. Keeping those feet nice and flat. Driving that back down into the mat. Feel the abs contract. Feel the abs lifting the shoulders off the floor. I need 5 more seconds. We're gonna get those toes back up to the ceiling. Good. All right, so again, reaching with the hands, or keep the hands behind the head if you need to support your neck. All right, you ready? Here we go. Lift those shoulders. Come on, back down. Hands can stay behind the head. Hands can reach towards those toes. Good. Feeling the abdominals, lift the shoulders. Make them work. Keep those legs as straight as you can. I need 10 more seconds. We have that reverse crunch, leg lift combination coming up. So we're gonna tuck those hands under the hips. Relax the head. Bend those knees to about 90 degrees, and we're gonna start with the reverse crunch first. So tuck that pelvis under, pull the knees in, straighten the leg out, lift the hips. Good. Reverse and hip lift. Good. Take your time between each one. There's no rush. Good. And once we have done our 30 seconds here, we're gonna go into our figure 4 oblique crunch. So we're gonna cross an ankle over a knee, pick a side, left or right. Good. Cross an ankle over, hands behind the head. Again, lift the shoulders, use the obliques to go into that rotation. Up, twist, and back down. Good. Up, twist. You got it. Nice. Keep that back, push down into the floor. Don't let it pop up as you bring the shoulders back down. You got it. So I need about 10 more seconds here. We're gonna keep the hands right where they are, switch the feet around, get set up on the other side. Nice. Switch. All right, again, keeping that back push down into the floor, hands behind the head. Lift the shoulders, reach that elbow across to the opposite knee. Keeping that back push down, Watch that the back does not arch as you bring the shoulders back down. Keep the back pushed down into the floor. You got it. Once we are done the figure four on this side, we have our double crunch. So we're gonna keep the hands behind the head. We're gonna bring both feet up off the floor, keeping the knees at about 90 degrees. And we're gonna come into our ball, and then we're gonna release back out. All right, 3, 2, here we go. Come into your ball and release, good. Again, it's not a big movement. You're gonna tuck that belly button in. You're gonna feel the abdominals lift the shoulders. And as that pelvis tucks under, you're gonna pull the knees in to meet the elbows. You got it. Nice. We need about 10 more seconds. We're gonna bring those arms up above the chest. Legs can be straight or bent for our full sit-up. Awesome. So hands are up. So again, knees bent, a bit more of a challenge. Legs straight, a little bit easier. So find your sweet spot. Push your back down into the mat. Or sit it up. Reach those hands for the ceiling. Lower back down under control. Good. Let that back round out, almost like you're coming down vertebrae by vertebrae. So take your time, there's no rush. You got it. So I need about 10 more seconds. And then we're gonna pick a side, left or right. We're back to our side plank hip dips in 4, 3, 2, and relax. Good. All right, so remember, modified, bottom leg bent, full, both legs are nice and straight. Let's pop that hip up. We're gonna drop the hip down, lift it up as high as we can. Eyes are straight ahead for me. Make sure that top arm rested on the hip. Bring that hand up towards the ceiling, whatever feels good for you. Try not to have it down on the floor. You wanna keep that chest nice and open. I need about 10 more seconds on this side. And then we're gonna drop and roll to the other side. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Drop and roll. All right. I'm taking my time here. Here we go. Modified or a full side plank. Pop it up first, get set up, drop the hip, and then push it up. Good. Eyes are straight ahead. And again, make this movement as big or as small as you need to. Make it work for you, make it challenge you, make sure you are feeling that whole underside work as you draw that hip up. I need about 5 more seconds. We're gonna go back, hold the plank in 3, 2, awesome. So we're on our forearms, knees or toes. Remember, you can elevate your hands off the floor to make this easier. In 3, 2, let's pop it up. So hips come down, tuck that belly button in. You're gonna feel your glutes squeeze. Now, if you need to make this harder, I want you to rock it out back and forth. So here's an add-on if you want. Totally up to you. I need about 15 more seconds here. We pop it back up onto our hands. We got those mountain climbers coming up next. All right, I need 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. Nice. All right, we got our mountain climbers. We're down to our last final 4 moves. Remember, you can run it, you can step it. Low impact, just draw those knees straight in, keeping those hips down, eyes on the floor, or feel free to run it out. Good, if you need to make this easier, get those hands up and off the floor. Find your staircase, find a workout bench or a nice solid coffee table, but I only need 10 more seconds. And then we flip it back over onto our back. We're gonna alternate our oblique jackknives in 3, 2, and relax. Flip, legs straight out, arms above the chest. Remember, you can lift just the shoulder or you can sit all the way up, whatever works for you. Drive that back down, reach. Remember, you may just be lifting the shoulder, and that is all good. You may do 2, 4, maybe 6, sitting all the way up. And then finish the 30 seconds by just lifting the shoulder. I need about 5 more seconds. We're gonna come back into that figure 4 position. Whew. So cross an ankle over a knee. Bring that leg up towards the ceiling. So we do one leg lower, one hip lift. So lower the leg down, pull it back up, hip to the ceiling. Good. And again, we're using those nice deep lower abdominals to pull the leg back up, and then we're gonna tuck the pelvis under to get the heel up towards the ceiling. Good. 10 seconds. And then we need to do the exact same thing on the other side. Perfect. Whew. All right, let's switch those legs out. Tuck those hands under the hips. Bring that leg up towards the ceiling. Lower down. Use those nice deep lower abdominals to pull up, and then tuck that belly button or pelvis in to get the heel to the ceiling. Take your time. Lower the leg only as far as what's comfortable towards the floor. You got it. We got less than 10 seconds. We got one move left. We have our straight leg bicycle to finish off. All right, let's bring those hands back behind the head. Whew. One leg up, one leg down, elbow comes across, and then switch. Keeping those shoulders lifted the whole time. Make those legs as big or as small as you need to. Remember, you can always go back to the bent leg version if you need to. The key is to keep that back into the floor. Don't let it arch up as you switch legs and lower the one leg towards the floor. Good, come on, I need about 5 more seconds and then you are done in 4, 3, 2, holy smokes. Whew. Let's stay down for a second, catch your breath. Feel free to roll it over, do some child pose stretches, do some cobra stretches. Stretch out through the hips as well. Again, we did work them a little bit with the mountain climbers, keeping those hips in the figure 4 position. So once you have done your stretches, you've had lots of water, have an amazing rest of the day, and I cannot wait to see you in the next workout.